Good evening and good to have you with us on the 10 p.m. debate on the Newshour. Joining Anand on this leg of the debate, I'm Tanvi Shukla and we continue with the big story. Ladies and gentlemen, the debate is highly polarized. On one side, the fierce Tamil pride is on show. On the other side, you have the legal experts and activists who want the law of the land to have the final say.
So where do we draw the line? Who decides when tradition is breaching the law? Who decides culture is above the law? And question. The debate is already on, but both sides haven't been able to convince us with their answers tonight as we continue to discuss the Jallikattu uprising. Most tame culture. Pick up the phone, call us, tell us what you feel. Is there an option that's brewing on the Newshour tonight? An option that can be taken forward as we dive into the Jallikattu uprising yet again.
You're watching the Newshour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
A little bit of a change in the panel. Let's say good evening to Chinmayi Sripaada, singer joining us from Chennai. Rajeev Rajaram, stand-up comedian joining us from Chennai. Good evening to both of you. Dr. Manilal Valliyate stays on with us. Thanks for that. Gauri Mulekhi also stays on. We'll try and get across to her. Rahul Easwar, social activist, joins us. Our Rajagopalan and Sumanth C Raman continue to stay on with us. Now, we've been debating all aspects. The court has passed a ruling. The matter still remains sub judice to our panelists. And they have not yet sent out a ruling. Sumanth C Raman, let's start with you because you were part of the first leg of the debate along with Mr. Rajagopalan and also Dr. Manilal. The solution that comes out is, should the courts go back and say, or should they come out and after seeing the protest, the outpouring, the sentiment of the uprising today, and that continues into tonight across Tamil Nadu, should the courts turn around and say, all right, we will not ban culture, we will not ban tradition, as long as you go back to tradition?
Anand, all that the people are saying is, give us an opportunity to stage Jallikattu again. If there need to be guidelines to ensure cruelty is not meted out to the bulls, we are willing to abide by that. The state government is willing to abide by that. The protesters themselves are saying that they do not want to torture or inflict cruelty on the bulls. So you want to limit the number of people. One of the suggestions which was made was 500 people are charging at a bull, which is unfair. So you want to limit that number. You want to limit the number and make it 20 or 30 people at a time. That is fine. You lay down a set of guidelines as to how this sport can be conducted, making it safer for the bull and making it safer for the human. No problem. Nobody is saying that the incidents which were captured on the tape and shown to the Supreme Court, only that is the way in which we will continue to behave or continue to do.
No, but the point here is, Sumanth C Raman, you say that now. Mr. Sumanth C Raman, you say that now, that the state is willing to do this, we should put in a system. Wasn't a system put in place? The fact is that they went back and came out with a fresh order, Mr. Raman, because the state failed to ensure.
Does not mean you ban a sport.
I get your point. But there has to be accountability here. Just claiming that you will ensure these guidelines are followed are not going to happen, because that's where the state failed the last time. And I want to bring in Gauri in this aspect. Gauri, the fact is that all right, we'll just go to her in just a bit, but let's go across to our other panelists and Mr. Rajagopalan. The fact is that organizations and activists went to the court and said, look, these guidelines are not being followed. There is still enough number of casualties happening, there's still enough amount of cruelty that's taking place, and there is no adherence to these guidelines, which is why we've come to this point now. Where is the accountability? Shouldn't the state be held accountable in their failure to ensure that these guidelines were followed in the first place? That's the reason Jallikattu as a sport was completely banned, and this was taken away from the people of Tamil Nadu.
Politicians should be made accountable. Today's Marina Beach strength shows that politicians be beware, because politicians confuse the things. Because in 2012, Jairam Ramesh was Union Minister for Environment. He added that bull in the cruel to the animal. That all started from there. And today, judicial overreach, they banned it. And today's Marina Beach strength is an answer to the judicial activism. Because lawyers, legal fraternity, judiciary, all should know that Jallikattu is a pride for Tamilian, and you bring amendments. You bring lot of inbuilt strengthen the Jallikattu, but don't ban it. That is the answer. That is why all schools are closed tomorrow. That is why the entire Tamil Nadu is now burning. We must understand that Tamil culture, Tamil pride, whether it is legal fraternity or judiciary.
Tamil culture, Tamil pride, Tamil discipline and the way to protest has been shown, and right through the evening we've been saying here on Times Now that this is how you should protest. When there is no indiscipline, there is no women who are not hurt, there is no law and order problem, and even if the lights are turned off at the Marina Beach, people are safe. There is no issue that has happened, and that is hats off to this uprising, because it has come with an intent which says restore our pride. The issue is restoration of pride. Chinmayi, you know, and when you think about it, people are saying give us back our custom. People are saying give us back our culture. My question, Chinmayi, is that when this matter was being argued in courts, shouldn't they have the people who represented the people of Tamil Nadu, those who represented the state and the people of Tamil Nadu, should they not have argued and said, made this argument in such a way that the tradition was not overruled? And that people they could have even committed saying the state will go back to the original tradition of Jallikattu. There will be no cruelty. Was that undertaking not taken?
I completely... I think that especially the farmers and the conservationists, I think their representation was very, very low. If we have not been able to argue properly about this particular cause, I believe the representation from our side did not show enough facts to say that the bulls were actually not being tormented or they were not being subjected to cruelty. And this has been something that has been happening over aeons in Tamil Nadu. And the loss of life or the loss of bulls, and very honestly, Jallikattu and the continuance of this particular tradition is very intrinsic and important for the indigenous cattle and for the rural economy. It is very, very important for the farmer.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm going to take that point further with our panelists in just a bit. Very quickly, let's also go across to Shabir, who's at Marina Beach still, and he's getting us the latest from there. Shabir, what's the mood? Have they all settled down for the night? They're going to be there protesting peacefully. Second consecutive night at Marina Beach.
Well, exactly. The mood here is totally electrifying. The protesters here say that they are not leaving this venue until and unless they get something concrete from both the central and the state governments. So clearly, these protesters are charged. Passions are running high, emotions are running high, and even at this hour, you can see how disciplined these protesters are. They are sitting and they are hearing the speeches here, and there are many people from different walks of life who are coming here and expressing solidarity towards their cause and their protest. They are supporting us. We have seen retired judges addressing the protesters, and also celebrities from the Tamil film industry and various other experts who are coming here, and the protest is showing no signs of slowing down. So one can say that this protest is here, that is going to stay, and these protesters are not in a mood to relent, and they will go ahead and they will intensify their protest further unless and until there is some concrete decision from the central government or the state government. But all eyes are on the meeting between the Prime Minister and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam. Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam has already left for Delhi, and what will be his demand, and what can the central government do in this matter, since the matter is sub judice. Those are the things that are closely being monitored, closely being watched. But politically, there seems to be a lot of pressure on Tamil Nadu government, and this massive gathering by youngsters at Marina Beach, and not only at Marina Beach but several other parts of Tamil Nadu, has forced the government to do something even at this hour. and now we can only wait that there will be some kind of favorable outcome in the meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and
well, if there is a way of making your case, if there is a way of arguing your case, this is how you do it. They've done it with great dignity, and they've done it so very well, and that's what we have to applaud the people of Tamil Nadu for. Across the state, there have been protests, there has been a huge outpour, like we see what is happening at Marina Beach, but it's been largely peaceful. It's about just coming out and saying, give us what we hold very dear, that is, and it's a matter of pride for us. It's our custom, it's our tradition. We have opened the phone lines, so before we go across to our guests again, our first caller calling us from Karnal, Dr. Raja. Good evening, go ahead please.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Dr. Raja, calling from Karnal. Basically, this, if you see, we respect the Honorable Supreme Court judgment, but the issue is that certain rules has to be formed, and the game should not be stopped, banned altogether. Because in every sport, there is risk is there. If you take the cricket also, there is a risk is there, but even the players are playing. But if you even in Jallikattu also, there is a risk is there. But that should not be completely banned with some restriction. It should be continued. It is pride of Tamil Nadu. We are supporting for the Jallikattu.
All right, Mr. Raja, thank you so much for calling us from Karnal. Let's go across to another viewer who's calling us from Chennai now. Satya, I believe, is on the line. Go ahead, Satya. A lot is happening in your city. What do you want to say?
Well, the first thing that I want to say is this is not a bullfighting. It is bull embracing, which is like each and every farmer who's rearing the animal, he likes to showcase the animal that he has reared. There's nothing wrong in it. This is exactly like a dog show, wherein the dog show, you want to bring out the exotic breeds in it, and you want to show a very good the class in it. This is almost the same.
If Jallikattu is the same as a dog show, and if it is practiced the way it is, there is no reason to ban it, Satya. So like you've outlined what Jallikattu actually is, if there is a commitment that's given from the people of Tamil Nadu and the state itself that we'll go back to the roots, Rajeev and Rahul Easwar, we'll go back to what tradition is. We'll go back to what Jallikattu actually is, and that's what will be practiced in Tamil Nadu around Pongal and across the state. If that commitment is given from the people, and that's what it looks like because of this uprising, that's what we are saying, that give us back Jallikattu and we'll hold it the way it should be held. You think that will force a rethink? The matter is still with the courts. Should they consider that? Should they then say, here are the conditions, go back to the original Jallikattu and conduct it?
Very true, Anand. 2 points. There is
Rahul, if you can wait a bit, I'll just bring in Rajeev and then you can come across. Yes, Rajeev.
See, absolutely. I think the most important thing is that the court should definitely consider that. And if you see the amount of people who are out there on the streets, you know what is everybody saying? Give us the opportunity and have the best form of regulations, have the strictest regulations. And if somebody is going to, what do you say, go over those rules or something or break those rules, they will be brought to book. I'm saying with the strictest legal action, obviously. So which means that there is, see, the whole idea is not to ban it. You do it with, when you regulate it, you'll be able to control it. And that is also going to help in the long-term conservation of the native breeds. That is something that is definitely going to help us.
All right, Rahul, just stay on with us. I'll come back to you in just a bit to make your point also. But very quickly, taking another caller who's on the line, S. Iyer is also calling us. Go ahead. What do you have to say as far as the ban on Jallikattu is concerned?
This is...
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, this is as the other gentleman had told me, I was talking. This is something, Manja Virattu, we say, we are very proud of our culture and heritage. It's... Hello?
Yes.
Turn down the volume of your television and speak to us.
Yeah, see, all points, and I've been a blogger, I've been writing on this for quite some time, following this case for some time. I also talked to you in the afternoon.
Yes, Dr. Sukanya Iyer, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
Yes, go ahead.
So, all the panel, whether it's Sumanth C Raman, Rajagopalan, I'm a proud Tamilian myself, but reside in Mumbai as of now. What I would like to say is that when it has gone to Supreme Court, we will do with all regulations, amendments. But we need to preserve our culture, conserve our culture, livestock. So,
but what happened, Sukanya, Dr. Sukanya, because you've been following the case, and as I go across to Rahul Easwar, 2011 guidelines were laid. those guidelines were not followed. There were evidences across Jallikattu events being conducted, and from where videos were pulled out, where there was brutality or cruelty meted out to animals. And Rahul Easwar, I'm again making the case. There will be an opinion which says that this is judicial overreach, this is judicial activism at play, and PETA has been made the villain. But the reality is that today, if because of this uprising, Tamil Nadu makes a case not just to the top court, but to the people of this country and to the centre and to all, that give us back our tradition, we will uphold it. We will conduct Jallikattu the way it should be. That's the strongest case, and nobody can ignore that.
Absolutely, Anand. I totally agree. And two things. I'm an Indian by nationality and a Tamil by civilization. Tamil has a great subculture and a civilization in this great land, which dates back to thousands and thousands of years. And Jallikattu is 4,000 to 5,000 years old. And as you rightly pointed out, there was nothing of this kind of brutality earlier. Maybe some mistakes happened in the past. Everybody is willing to concede that. These are poor farmers. They don't know much advanced scientific technology. Some mistakes have happened. They are ready to concede, and they are ready to take any harshest regulation from the Honorable Supreme Court. We all consider Supreme Court as Pratyaksha Devadam, or gods which can be seen. We are all ready to obey whatever they say. But a blanket ban will be culturally insensitive. And with all great respect, many a times people down in South India feel there is a systematic insensitivity. Whether it is Jallikattu case, elephants in temple, Shabarimala, so many cases related to culture have been dealt insensitively is a feeling that we have.
Yes, I want to come to that point in just a bit, and in fact, and get opinion from some of the youngsters also on the panel. And Rajiv, like you were saying, you've been interacting a lot with people and the kind of sentiment it is. Has it literally gone beyond the sport and the connection of this tradition with their culture? Is it now about the Tamil identity, like Rahul Easwar is saying?
Yes, absolutely, because the bigger thing is that people feel there is a kind of, there's a sense of resentment that, the certain things are perceived from a very elitist outlook, and for most of the people, even I would like to say over here, is that if you would like to definitely watch Jallikattu, it actually happens in my hometown. I'm from Madurai. I'd love to take you over there and see how beautiful, what kind of a great festive event it will be. And I think people right now are coming out and saying, you know what, see, stop. I think please respect our sentiments on this specific subject. We will follow every single rules. And I think at some point of time, with a lot of organizers, I spoke with a couple of organizers today, where they've said that, we've stuck our neck out this time. We are going to ensure that none of this, you see, there's not going to be any violations that's going to take place. And we are willing to give that in writing. So I think that is a very important...
Rajiv, where the issue happens, and like Rahul Easwar was also saying, Chinmayi, please come in and we'll go across to Dr. Manilal also. Chinmayi, where the issue is, and point which Rahul and Rajiv are making, the fact is, there are those who forget what the culture is supposed to be.
Yes.
They corrupt it. The corrosion happens, and that's where the brutality comes into place, where there are people who want some more excitement. They want to do something more, and they say, let's excite the bull. Let's do something to the elephant. And these things then get highlighted, and then they tend to become the norm. What that does is it dilutes tradition. You move away from what is supposed to be cultural, and then everybody sits up and takes notice and says, this is cruelty going on. This is not tradition, Chinmayi. Sumanth, coming to you after that, please. Yeah, one sec. Let Chinmayi speak, and then to you.
Yeah. Sorry. So what happens is that when a certain anomaly like this is documented and it's repeatedly played again and again, it becomes a sort of a proof of sort to present to a whole lot of people and the Honorable Supreme Court with all its wisdom that this is how Jallikattu has been happening throughout the years. But that's not true. You can't pick up a couple of anomalous situations and say this is how Jallikattu happens. It's just like saying, okay, just because a few men molest, all men are molesters, is exactly how I think I can present it. Also, I think in the recent past, Tamil Nadu has been feeling a little slighted, especially because the water has not come in from Kaveri, and also the anger has been that, if the neighboring state can actually flout a Supreme Court law and prevent water from coming into us, why can't we? But thankfully, I am so proud of all of us in Tamil Nadu who have, followed the law. No law and order situations here. Everybody is very peaceful. No woman has been assaulted. No child has any problem. Everybody is safe. Yes. That is one. The second thing is that in all this, especially in the recent past, there was a lot of confusion about whether Pongal is going to be a restricted holiday or a closed holiday from the central government. So that became another thing to stoke the fire. And then the Jallikattu came as a, I think people were still waiting. A lot of people were ready. They thought something might happen, but it didn't. And I would probably repeat what Mr. Rahul Easwar or Rajiv would say. A lot of farmers, it is very important to them. It is important for the rural economy, and as he also said, we are sticking our neck out here, and I believe that if the regulations are imposed, I think everybody right now will be watching all of us conducting Yeru Tharuvudal or Jallikattu properly in the future.
Anand, I think that this point is coming out a lot now, that it's perhaps also was a build-up to several of these incidents that Chinmayi was also speaking about. That's come to this point where people have said, you know what, perhaps I need to take a stand for my identity and for this cultural thing. Yes, Dr. Sumanth C Raman, I'll come to you in just a bit. I just want to go to Dr. Manilal, because Chinmayi says this is a, this anomaly to what extent were these cruelty incidents really taking place, because once the Supreme Court and the government came out with those guidelines, and they came out with guidelines to say how many people should be in a ring, only 4 men against 1 bull, don't allow spectators, so that there were no spectator injuries. It's not just the animal or the person who's participating. We've seen significant amount, 5,263 injuries to participants and spectators that's taken place between 2008 and 2014, Dr. Manilal. So the risk is big. It's easy to claim that we will ensure that people don't cross the line, that the rules are followed, that there is no cruelty that's meted out. But like Anand said, in that zest, gradually the tradition gets diluted and these things begin to seep in. How do you ensure when tomorrow a state goes and claims that, we will ensure this doesn't happen, that who puts the checks and balances in place? Whose responsibility can it be? It can't be individual organizers, can it, Dr. Manilal?
No. See, if you look at the figures, these figures are coming from the period of 2008 to 2014, and that is the period exactly during which the Supreme Court have enforced stringent rules. I mean, look at those rules. I mean, it talks about the double barricading, the bedding at the taming area, and having a collection yard so that the animals can be safely collected. I mean, there are many regulations imposed by the Supreme Court, but none of those regulations could stop these cruelty. But talking about cruelty, but from a veterinarian's perspective, having understood a bit of animal welfare and animal behavior, see, there are 2 types of animals, prey animals and predator animals. So basically all our domesticated animals are prey animals. They will react to an adverse situation in 2 ways. Either they will fight if they are restricted or cornered, or they will flee away from the scene if they can't do anything else. So what we do in Jallikattu is instigating those natural behaviors. Actually, you induce fear or induce pain or induce injury to make that animal run. Otherwise, look at all around you. You will find a bull standing on the road in the middle of a city, because that is how if they are unharmed, if they are not threatened, they will stand still, eat, then they will chew the cud. That is what they do. So if you want the animal to run, if they want a group of people jumping on the animal and holding onto the hump, it is not embracing. I mean, you can't allow a person to hold on to you and say that it is embracing. It is not at all embracing. It's actually you are torturing. And when you talk about torturing is not just physical, it's also mental. So when you say I'm only torturing the animal by physically, you are not, and you are just shouting and threatening and actually 10 people surrounding the animal, these are all torture.
Right.
Torture has to be defined.
So that's another perspective.
Like what we perceive as torture.
See, that's another perspective, and it is a significant one. Sumanth C Raman. Yeah, we have 2 callers. Dr. Kalpana Iyer with us and another caller, but I request our callers to just stay with us on the phone. Let's hear out Sumanth C Raman also. Yes, Sumanth Raman.
Two very quick points. There is this concept in the law of necessary suffering of animals versus unnecessary suffering of animals, right? Which is the slaughterhouse concept, where there is a process which is defined for slaughtering an animal, and in which obviously the animal does not have a choice, just like they are claiming the bull doesn't have a choice here. So you have to note whether the minimizing or laying down of stringent rules in Jallikattu to allow tradition to happen, allow the culture, allow the Tamil people to celebrate Jallikattu would be deemed to be part of necessary suffering or not. Okay, now that's the first question. Second one, the discriminatory angle that a lot of people in Tamil Nadu today feel. As Chinmayi pointed out, Kaveri is a classical example. The Supreme Court order is brazenly flouted, the central government does nothing. The fishermen issue, our fishermen are picked up routinely by the Sri Lankan Navy and they are kept in prison in Sri Lanka and released after intervention by the centre. After weeks or months, their boats are captured. Maybe they accidentally stray across the line of the international maritime boundary. But this has been going on for years. No solution has been found. So there are now, and Jallikattu, the Pongal holiday, there are the imposition of Hindi and now the so-called potential imposition of Sanskrit under the new education policy. There are any number of reasons for the people in Tamil Nadu to feel discriminated against. And certainly some of them, like the Kaveri issue, are most legitimate. And like Jallikattu, for instance, are legitimate grievances which the centre should address.
No, so but more importantly, before the centre addresses, Sumanth C Raman, here's my point. Here's my point to your second aspect, to your second argument. Before the centre addresses, the state has to undertake and state has to address. Just going to our callers. Kalpana here, good evening. Thank you for your patience. Go ahead, please.
What can the state government do on the fishermen issue?
Yeah, so, Sumanth, please wait. The callers. It's our viewers. One second.
Yeah, Sumanth C Raman, we'll come to that point in just a bit. Kalpana Ravi wants to make a point. Go ahead, Kalpana.
Good evening, Anand. I'm a proud comedian living in Mumbai. I strongly oppose what PETA is doing, not only for Jallikattu, but for various other things which is pertaining to Hindu festivities. I am not saying Hindu, Tamilian, North Indian or anything of that sort. But my only grouse is, how come the Supreme Court gets into an activation mode when it comes to Hindi festivities, like Dahi Handi, like this, during Muharram, people slash themselves, children below 6 years old slash themselves. What does the court do? Blind. Where are the activists?
Well, you know, this is. I have to just say, Kalpana, to look at it from a religious prism is not doing. And to make these comparisons. Once a Kalpana.
As an Indian, I also believe.
Please understand that this ruling came under the Act of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. There is a certain act, and under that this judgment was given, not because we have questioned the loudspeaker on Diwali or any other festive occasion. There is no ruling on that, but these are not statutes. There is a statutory act which is Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, under which there was a case made that Jallikattu in Tamil Nadu, the way it is being practiced now, especially in the last decade, has become brutal and outrightly cruel to the bull and to the livestock. That was the argument that was made, Kalpana, and that's where the courts ruled, saying that this is a departure from the original tradition of the Tamil people or the Dravidian people. Our next caller is Shikha from Coimbatore. Yes, Shikha. Shiva, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Vanakkam.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is Quran. Hello.
Yes.
Go ahead, Shiva.
I know you're quoting Quran. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Actually, from morning I was trying, but right now I am traveling. Some disturbance is there, no problem. I can continue.
Please.
Because morning I participated in Coimbatore. Now I am on the way to my native town to Tubrain. There I am going to agitate against the federal government and state government. Actually, morning somebody told very cruelty during Jallikattu. For the 365 days, we are keeping our cows in our house. One day we are playing with house. How very cruelty coming? Hello.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Make your
Other 364 days, we are keeping our bull in our house. All the video you have seen, no, which is very wrong.
Okay, so that's the other, and we've heard that argument also being placed through the evening by several of our callers, that these are animals and these are bulls that we keep as our own, and we take care of them, we love them, we bring them up, and so the argument of cruelty for them, they don't agree. Yes, Rahul Easwar, just 1 minute. Just wanted to add and counter what Sumanth C Raman was saying about all of those incidences which have probably led to this kind of an uprising, and this could be the trigger point to Sumanth C Raman, like you were saying. But just to counter the logic behind it, it's also the state, Sumanth C Raman, and you yourself have said that several times on a show, it's the state that has failed to fight for their people. It's the state that has perhaps failed to prove this and to convince the courts, whether it was in this case, whether it was in the river dispute case. It is the state that may have failed to prove their case. So rather than making a regional and an identity thing out of it, it's a very clear legal case in that sense.
In the Jallikattu case, yes, there may have been mistakes made by the state governments in the past. In the Jallikattu case, there may have been mistakes made in the sense that they may not have enforced the rules of the Supreme Court firmly in 2011.
Exactly. There you go.
But on the interstate river water issue, there has been absolutely no.
I don't see there is no debate there. There is no debate there. There is no debate there, and there is a reason why. You know, like you said, and this was part of this was part of Sumanth Raman. This was part of the. No, this was what set up the debate today. That there is a sentiment among the Tamil people that they are getting a raw deal. They are not getting their due. And perhaps they are being slighted. They're feeling slighted. And this manifestation has come on Jallikattu. Correct. Exactly. My argument today is not, Rahul, yes, Rahul. The argument is not on the overall sentiment of being slighted. The people have come out and spoken. But shouldn't the state start with the undertaking, Rahul? Absolutely. And the people start with the undertaking. Very true. That we go back and we will honor the tradition of Jallikattu.
And totally, that should be the line of argument. And please remember, Jallikattu issue is
so Sumanth, one second. Let Rahul Easwar speak.
Yeah, Anand, I totally agree with you. Jallikattu issue is primarily a civilizational issue, a cultural issue, and state government and the people should definitely give an undertaking that Jallikattu will be restored to the prime glory and security. And along with that, let me take this opportunity to respect and applaud our national media. Our national media were truly national, supportive of the South Indian sentiments, supported our Tamil brothers in this, because many a times it's a fight with $1 billion multinational NGO PETA on one side and the poor Tamil farmers on other side. They are not very articulate, they are not very good in conducting cases, and they have missed it many times.
Rahul, at the cost of interrupting you here, please let me make this also very clear. See, to target just PETA and to make them the villain is also a narrative which is not right. Because they are not the only petitioner. They are one of the 6 petitioners. They are not the original petitioner. The review was done by the Animal Welfare Board. There was it was a statutory body which has been appointed by the government. There was a certain level of political interference and a government opinion which was also weighed in on the original judgment, and that also resulted in the judgment of 2014. So just to identify PETA because that's the only international element and to make them the villain is also, I'm not sure if that is fair. Yes, they have made a case, but sir, when we point fingers at others, we also have to realize that the Tamil people themselves are also somewhere responsible because they allowed somebody to question their tradition. That happened because there was a certain level of corrosion, Chinmayi, which happened. There was a certain level of moving away from departure from tradition which happened. There were these videos, Mr. Rajagopalan, there were these videos. These videos did not surface out of thin air, right? They surfaced out of some key Jallikattu events which were being conducted in Tamil Nadu. Rajagopalan. Thank you for your patience. Go ahead, sir.
One thing is clear. Since morning, you have been campaigning. All the callers, around thousands of callers called Times Now studio. You have made one thing important, that ban is very extreme step and Tamil pride is restored. Yes. Tamil pride is upheld. That is the sum and substance of this today's debate, and today's total thousands of callers have given their opinion.
Absolutely, sir.
Gauri, just 1 minute, we'll come to you in just a bit.
Yeah, you have spelled it out correctly, Mr. Rajagopalan, that the people of Tamil Nadu today, by their brilliant protest, and I think this is the example for a protest. This is how protest should be held, where your voice is heard, but there is no rule of law that is broken in terms of the conduction of the protest is concerned. But what you said is right, Gauri Mulekhi. What the people of Tamil Nadu today are saying is the ban is very extreme. It's an overreach. Yes. Allow the tradition to continue, lay down the rules and make sure the implementation is strict. That's what
right now. We need Yeah, yes, you're right. You're right in saying what you think is correct, but there is a legal process. There is a legal process. If they're not happy with the ban that the judiciary has brought in, then there is just one recourse left. Wait for the judgment, ask for the law to be changed. Right now, the people who are at Marina are being led into believing that the central government can do something about it, or the state government can do something about it. Well, neither state nor centre has any
hopes, Gauri
option,
Mulekhi,
because the apex court has given a judgment.
But their original hopes were with the apex court, and there also the disappointment happened because the ruling did not come before Pongal.
Yesterday and today, Marina Beach.
Please understand this. Please understand this. From the ground sentiment, the
then there is no way
that they were hoping the judgment will happen.
Right now,
they were hoping the judgment will happen by the 10th, 11th, or 12th of January, so that they would know exactly what happens on Pongal. That ruling was withheld. And there again the Tamil people feel that why only in our case did you not rule before the festival?
There are occasions when the judgment is reserved over a long period of time, because it takes time for the judges to mull over all the submissions that have been made by various stakeholders and then come to a legal conclusion. Now here, in the month of December, opportunity was given to every single stakeholder, including the organizers and the breeders of the bulls and everyone. They've given comprehensive submissions. Give the chance to the court to actually mull over everything.
Here is where the sentiment differs.
When you find it convenient.
No, Gauri, here is where.
The point also is, Gauri, that you are saying that enough evidence and submissions have been made, and so the court has to take its own time. Now, the other aspect, Mr. Rajagopalan, that you are raising is also what about the politicians? It's easy for everybody to stand up today when people are asserting what they want, and their wish must be respected and understood. But what have they been doing? What are these politicians What are the countless state governments been doing?
Farmers who have died out of drought.
Yes.
Why is nobody protesting about the drought condition?
Because that doesn't work for their vote banks.
People not doing about the 114
because that doesn't work for their vote banks, Mr. Rajagopalan. It works very easily for any political party, especially in today's setup in Tamil Nadu, whether it is the DMK or the AIA-DMK, it's very convenient to play into these sentiments and to fan it.
DMK confused the
you know, the state government took a while to come out today, for the chief minister to come out today and make a statement. He waited 24 hours, Mr. Rajagopalan. If the political parties genuinely wanted Jallikattu the ban to be lifted a while ago, they should have shown more interest.
24 hours.
24 hours, the chief minister did not speak on the issue. He was liking what he was seeing there, the show of Tamil pride.
Everybody parachuted
Are politicians here then just playing with people's sentiments?
Even in December when the final judgment was taking place.
It's easy to blame the animal rights and make PETA the villain of this story.
Where was Mr. Rajagopalan? I did not see him in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, Gauri, just let him answer this. Yes. It's easy to make an animal rights organization the villain of this.
What you said is right, Sister Chukla. What you said is right. Politicians confused it. That is why Tamil Nadu, Marina Beach today said no politician should come near to them. Very clearly they said.
See here.
Politicians confused, especially UPA regime. Congress blessings to Tamil Nadu is Jallikattu ban.
Sir, across political spectrum, here's what they did. They played with this pride and this sentiment aspect. People were hurt, people were disappointed, so they said, let's exact some political capital out of it and see how much it goes and how much we can milk it. Chinmayi, do you not agree that today people have come out and said, this is what we want? But there are those voices who played politics. Between Chinmayi, between you and Rajiv, just talk about this and say,
Anand, can I ask one question?
Sumanth, one sec. Let me bring them in, please, and then I'll come back to you. They've been largely not been able to speak much. Yes, Chinmayi and Rajiv, take over. Yeah.
I have only a couple of points to make. See, all over this time, especially with animal rights activism, I think a lot of people are very upset with PETA and they have been made the object of all hatred right now. It is in a very difficult state to be in. However, a lot of the social media activists and protesters have brought out this information that PETA euthanizes all the animals that they can no longer take care of. So if that is not animal cruelty, then what is? They are not after social slaughterhouses. See, I'm not into whataboutery and I'm not saying whataboutery about this, what about that? We are not into this. However, if PETA had even spent half of the money that they had spent in the courts in establishing shelters and taking care of the animals that they claim to be taking care of in the first place, I think this anger wouldn't have escalated so much. And again, none of the students want to be associated with any politician or any political agenda.
This is completely irrelevant to the point at hand.
Protest, everybody is apolitical, and now I'll let Rajiv speak.
See, here's the most important thing. There's one thing, there is a very important sign that all the youngsters performed when politicians were making a walk towards them, charging towards them. Everybody is like, just get away, just go back to where you came from. That is number one. Number two, I think people just got back to the most ancient things. Like, we are a democracy, we are going to assemble peacefully and we're going to protest. That is number one. Number two, this is not a crowd like any of those political rally crowds which comes in for a biryani or a glass of rum. These are people who have actually spent time, allocated times of very important moments of their lives for this specific thing. That is the second thing. Third thing, we do know for a fact that
this is a very funny turn of events. This is a
Gauri,
funny turn of events. I'll tell you.
Yeah, 1 minute, Gauri. Just make
when he finishes, I'll come.
Yeah, please. Yes, Rajiv, complete.
Yeah, so the thing is that when people basically, all these people got together, the overall thing was, let us make our voices loud and clear. We are saying this with a single voice. Please let us get this done. And people have been very categorical about this.
Yes.
And here's another thing. And this is after being, consistently being called online saying that, oh, you support Jallikattu, so you're all barbarians. And this is what a barbaric crowd did, right? A civilized, decent protest with no violence, no breaking any law. And we've been calling these people barbarians, right? People have been called barbarians. And these people decide to say that, you know what, let us get out of our online bubbles and we are not going to hide behind our keyboards. We are going to make our statement very clear in the full view of public.
Yeah, absolutely, Rajiv. In fact, you know what? Today's protest and last 24 hours.
The farmer right now in the rural areas is very angry. He believes that his land has been taken over by the corporate, his seed has been taken over by the corporate. Even the milch cows have been taken over by the corporate, and this is probably the one thing they can hang on to. Okay. And they're really upset.
Okay, just to add to what both of you were saying here, I think what we've seen in the last 24 hours, if anything, has proven the point that this was a genuine protest with common people coming out there to express their angst about what is happening with their culture and tradition. It's not political. I think that's one thing we saw today, at least for most of it. Of course, there will be smaller instances. But Sumanth C Raman, how did we arrive at this place? And shouldn't the political parties be questioned for that?
No, 1 minute. No, before that, I just wanted to ask one question. There's been many legal experts have said that there is nothing that sort of bars the centre from coming out from an ordinance even at this stage, even ahead of the Supreme Court verdict, though that may potentially be struck down by the court, or the court may not look too favourably on it, but it is in the purview of the centre to come out with an ordinance. Point number one. You will recall in 2013, if I remember right, there was an ordinance which overturned a Supreme Court.
Absolutely not. That is again a lie. It is a blatant lie.
Every party joined together and supported that. Was that an emergency? Was that an emergency situation in the country where a convicted politician should not be disqualified? And it overturned a Supreme Court order? So if for that you can bring an ordinance, there is no reason why for Jallikattu you cannot bring an ordinance. So we have to look at this whole thing in perspective. So it's going on this
because the matter is already being considered by the Supreme Court.
Here's the thing. Now, if Gauri Mulekhi believes,
not technically correct,
gentlemen and ladies on the panel, as we wind up this debate, there is a case that we are trying to make. We are saying this Jallikattu uprising has forced the country to sit up and take note because of the manner of the uprising, and we salute those who are agitating and who are demanding that their culture, their tradition be restored or given back to them. The Supreme Court is apprised of this matter. They have withheld the judgment, and if Gauri Mulekhi is to be considered or believed, then they are still weighing the options and they're going through the cases that have been made and the arguments that have been made, and they're waiting and they're trying to formulate the judgment. What they think of the state, what they think of the politicians, what they think of the government there is one aspect. But what they think about the people's sentiment is critical. Will they factor that? Will they consider it when they rule in the days to come? And will they say, we'll give back the tradition to you if you uphold tradition while not being cruel to the animal? And will they give Tamil Nadu that opportunity and the people that opportunity, because that's what they're asking for? Give them their pride back, restore their pride, and they will uphold the courts, the rule of the law, and also the sentiment of the courts and of the people. If that can be done, that will be perhaps the right reward for this peaceful uprising by the people of Tamil Nadu that we are seeing on the streets of the state today. To all our panelists, thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour this evening.
Thank you so much.